But I do know 70% of the people that go bankrupt lose their wives. So now what I'm saying is, how do I know you're going to truly ride with me when things are truly tough? If you come in when everything is already done,
but in a ride or die situation, there's an unequal power dynamic. It's typically one person who is getting the majority of the benefit of that relationship. It's typically one person who's shouldering the burden.
Everybody's loyalty is tested in your life. And the only time your loyalty gets tested is when things are hard. Unfortunately, that's the reality. When me and you are great, I don't expect anything to be wrong with us.
Guys, we're going to go ahead and jump this off today. So there's a very common term that is used in pop culture, hip hop culture in our community, and it's called the ride or die chick. So
we love them.
We're going to dive into that today, the good, the bad, the history, whether it's a trauma response, like we really want to figure this out. So we really need y'all to give us y'all's comments because we don't know it all, right? All right, Rico.
All right, Aaron. You see, this is what I'm saying. If she was over there, because we're far, I could feel the...
I did go to Urban Dictionary.
I read that one too.
All right. And there was one other site I went to that I can't remember the name of it. We're going to jump this off with the definition. And it did come from Urban Dictionary. So that's my citation of a ride or die chick. So it says...
Ride or die chick? We're only talking about ride or die chicks or ride or die?
I'm sorry. Ride or die. But it's typically it's typically with respect to a woman.
Oh, typically, but we're talking about... We're gender neutral here at D8te Table.
I mean, y'all be right.
Well,
go ahead.
I don't know if they ever made a song called Ride or Die Dude, but okay.
Jada got it.
The definition is when you're willing to do anything for someone you love or someone you really appreciate in your life, the person you stand by during any problem. In conjunction, it's the conjunction of phrases, ride it out or die trying. So the phrases, it looks like the phrases come from a conjunction of two phrases, ride it out or die trying. So in other words, you're down for whatever, even if it kills you.
Even if it kills you. That seems like, doesn't that
part.
seem like so fucking dramatic?
That's the part. Like,
even if it fucking kills you.
When it comes to being a ride or die chick, this is more for me. I feel as though women, they tend to be a ride or die chick, and there's really no happy ending. I don't know. That's just my perspective. I feel as though, because if you ask me, are you a ride or die chick? Yeah, I'll ride it out for a certain amount of time, but there has to be a lesson learned eventually, and you have to realize, all right, is it worth me sticking out till the death part? You know what I'm saying? Sometimes I feel like when you're a ride or die, it's not usually a healthy situation because you're riding for someone and you're not necessarily, obviously, as a couple, making the best decisions, and it's kind of like, all right, I'm gonna stick it out either way. And I think that's very unhealthy, and it's not something that I could see myself doing. And I don't think I've ever, as an adult, I've never done that. But when I was younger, I used to put myself in situations with people that I knew, it's like, why am I even around this or supporting this? And I don't agree with it. Marry me.
I agree with Jada. I really don't take ride or die to be something of a healthy term. I really see that term very negatively because I don't know, maybe just in my mind, I associate that with doing something bad that you got to stick it out for. You got to stick it out with your partner through something bad, like, oh, he got locked up, so you got to hold it down. Mm-hmm. You got to be a ride or die chick. Yeah. Selling drugs, you gotta, hold it down and, take the drugs elsewhere and hide from the cops and something crazy. I don't know. I don't know. That's where my mind goes.
Lying under oath.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's regular.
Yeah, but
it's not, and that's exactly, and it's not healthy, and it's
a parent will lie under oath for their child. that's riding or dying.
Someone
But
that they pushed out of their body.
I don't
But it's
care.
always a
Whoa.
negative
No.
situation.
What we're gonna do is we're not going to give any other variables to the context of what's being said. So if you push out of your body or not, you are riding and dying for your child, right? What I'm trying to do is understand, why is there a negative stigma on it? For example, you can ride or die for your kid, right? Most parents do, actually. And you can ride or die for maybe your sister, a family, a loved one, someone that you deem to be a significant other. But the second that it enters the realm of a relationship, we look at it as a negative
I kind of feel
stigma.
like, why
I
would
know
you
that
push
there are
it?
ride or dies, right? Friends, bros. The code is ride or die. But we may not, actually, we do actually say it, ride or die. Like, for example, once you jump into a certain street life, you are a ride or die. Now, don't get me wrong. I ain't saying everybody does abide by those rules. But what I'm saying is that it is a normal thing to demonstrate an immense amount of loyalty to one another. Now, has there been in certain instances, has it been one-sided? Yes. But in other instances, it is actually on both ends. There are dudes that ride it out for their girl. There are dudes that love women who are truly terrible women. And they would sit on her side and be her little hush puppy dog until he finally gets the chance, because all he wanted to do was demonstrate loyalty. So let's not make this a gender thing.
I'm not making it a gender thing. Can I just say, I think you really pushed it with putting the family.
The jumping jacks, gymnastics.
You just really overdid it. You
Super
tried it.
gymnastics.
I think
Why?
we're not talking about a family, mother, daughter, brother, sister bond. We're not talking about that. We're talking about a relationship. And at the end of the day, if someone that's not my family is putting me in a negative position or making me jeopardize my life in any kind of way.
Is your husband your family?
You said husband.
I'm
So
just
that
asking
means
you a
we're
question. You
tied
said
to each other.
relationship. Is your husband your family?
Married. Now you're jumping
Okay.
again.
No, I'm not. I'm
That's
asking
not
you a
just
very
boyfriend,
simple.
girlfriend.
Is your husband your
You don't
family?
have to be a ride or die to your husband.
Okay,
you're
so-
in a
but he's
you're
your
in a partnership. You're connected. You have paperwork on that.
So
that's
you-
totally different.
Your husband is not your family.
Can I?
Your
Can I?
husband is your family. That's
Okay.
the point I'm
Can I
making.
clear it up for y'all? Let's just make it really clear. You can have 30 husbands. You only get one mama. You only get one father.
Amen.
So that's the difference.
And
that
some of
she's
them are
trying to make.
some of them are the worst people in those people's lives. So what I'm saying is, to go back to it, I don't like we want to add variables, and that's one thing that I learned that a lot of people try to do to diffuse
No.
whatever the real principles are. I want to talk about principles on ride or die.
What are they?
The principles of ride or die is extreme loyalty under any circumstance. Now,
To your detriment?
Exactly.
even
I'm like, fucking what?
I spoke very clearly when I said any, I meant any, to your own detriment, to one's detriment, whatever the case may be. It's extreme loyalty under any circumstance.
Can I just clean up what I said, because it makes a point when you say under any circumstance, but it really only comes down to being called a ride or die under a negative circumstance. When you're in trouble or when you gotta fend for your family, even if it is a family. It could be a partner, or it could be your sister, like you said. It could be your child, like you say, but it's under a negative circumstance that you gotta be that ride or die for them.
That's because you have to think about it. Everybody's loyalty is tested in your life. And the only time your loyalty gets tested is when things are hard. Unfortunately, that's the reality. When me and you are great, I don't expect anything to be wrong with us. But when me and you are not great, are we still going to be good? So that's why you see this stigma of ride or die under negative circumstances, because under the negative circumstances is when one defines their loyalty to you or to what you may have, whether it be a relationship, whether it be a friendship, whether it be a family, sister, brotherly bond.
This is the thing that I'm trying to get to. Is it really worth being a ride or die?
Not all the time.
It's not always worth it. And it's not always gonna be like the outcome. If the outcome, for example, if my man is about to go to jail for 10 years and, I'm expected to just, hold it down, stick it out, not knowing what the situation is going to be when he comes back, or not knowing, a lot of things can change in that time. If I decide for myself it's healthier for me to just move on and try to make a better life for myself and find happiness with someone else, is it now an issue that I chose not to be a writer?
No.
And I don't think that it should be an issue. Like even in gangs, like if we're talking about gangs, that's not a healthy situation to even be in. So it's always like, I don't think it matters. I don't think that's the same thing when you're in a marriage. I think it's really when you're in traumatic relationships with well, not traumatic, but you're in basically detrimental relationships or relationships that'll make you, there's no great end goal. So it's kind of like, what is the purpose of that?
I just have a question. Let me know if you agree or you don't.
Sir?
In most marriages that we've watched or heard of and grew up to fantasize and have the imagination of, right? We've all heard this sentence before, maybe numerous times. Till death do us part.
Yes, we've all heard that.
You're missing my point.
I'm just asking a question because I'm making a different point.
Okay, go ahead.
I'm just wanting to know yes or no.
Hurry up.
I just want to know yes or no.
But yes,
Like,
the answer is yes.
Thank you, Amanda. I appreciate it, even though Aaron just wanted to look at me.
Hey.
With the
so,
straightest fucking face.
because listen, here's my thing, right? I'm not gonna argue, and I would never argue being a ride or die to somebody that is not worth it to do it. That's foolish, right? Not everybody deserves your loyalty, especially if they haven't demonstrated loyalty within themselves to you, right?
Mm-hmm.
However, I think ride or die, in my personal opinion and experience, is a reciprocity of partners, right? When a man is ride or dying for a woman, or whether he's ride or dying for his homie, there are situations that are coming up nonstop where you're dictating, or where you're demonstrating, I should say, your loyalty to each other. Now, when it gets to the biggest point, right, whatever case that may be, some people, it could be in a marriage where a dude was like, yo, we've worked for 10 years. We've been married for 10 years. We've worked for 10 years. We saved our money for 10 years. I want to take all of our money and flood it into this investment. Are you riding with it?
No.
That's
I'm not saying you should. I don't think
we have $30 left.
I don't think that, but the point that I'm trying to make is not every woman is a ride or die or is capable, because being a ride or die comes with an extreme amount of unselfishness and how about this? Selflessness. So, and you have to understand and see the bigger picture within that relationship. So if that is the case, because I want to get away from the stigma of you're going to jail. Right, you have to lie on court, because a ride or die is not always you're going to jail and a dude is committing crimes. A ride or die is this is rough, is going to be rough, or whatever the case may be. 5 years, 10 years, 15 years. Are you willing to see it through?
That's a great example, and I like that. And I feel like it's a little different than a ride or die, because I feel like that's like ride or die and being someone's wife or husband. I feel like those are just two separate things. And I feel like extreme loyalty to someone you don't have, like I don't owe you anything. It's not significant enough, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. I think in a marriage, those things are going to happen, and those things are expected to happen, and those things are things that you work on as a partnership. But when you talk about ride or die, there's so many different things that can come into the situation, and you're not really benefiting in any way, because this is not someone you're married to. This is someone that you're taking chance with for no reason.
I know some wives and some husbands that are not ride or dies, and I know some wives and some husbands that are ride or dies. I think that, but
it's not as much as of a chance.
It's always a chance.
Because in order to break that bond, you have to go through a divorce.
Y'all.
You have to.
Y'all.
Yeah, come on, break it down. Help us out.
This is the main difference between having loyalty and a commitment to somebody versus being a ride or die, if you will. Because, like she said, in a marriage, you have a partnership. Everybody's going to give, everybody's going to take, everybody's going to benefit. But in a ride or die situation, there's an unequal power dynamic. It's typically one person who is getting the majority of the benefit of that relationship. It's typically one person who's shouldering the burden, the emotional bullshit, the hurt, and everything else of that relationship. Mm-hmm. So we're conflating a whole bunch of things that need to be like cleared up, because at the end of the day, you can be extremely loyal. You can be extremely committed to somebody, but loyal to what?
And
Foolishness?
boundaries. You have to have
Loyal to
boundaries.
stupidity? Loyal to bullshit?
Most men,
Loyal to bad decisions? Loyal to bad decisions that's gonna fuck up your life?
Go ahead, girl.
Their life? Like, this doesn't make any sense. Like, if I'm married, we're in a partnership. So whatever bad happens, it's happening to us. But in a ride or die situation, if something bad happens, one person
happening
is
to both. Like,
no, it's not.
Yes, it is.
One person is taking the unequal burden because you're so loyal in an unequally balanced relationship. I don't understand, like, what's so hard about this concept.
Because if you really I'm gonna clear some. First of all, your concept is not the best. But what I will say is,
We agreed on the definition.
no. You said usually one party is getting more than the other. I've never agreed on that. I actually said it was an equal or a certain amount of reciprocity, to be exact. And we have people watching. So what I will say is this. Most men, first and foremost, marry their ride or dies or people that they deem their ride or dies. This is not something that we actually have a whole stat for.
Yeah, that's
We
what I'm saying.
don't.
Give us some.
We don't.
But what I can say is most men, and I've said this before, and actually not only did I say it, a lot of men that came on Untitled the Table said it. When they start to choose to marry a woman, most times they marry the woman that had been there through it all. We had a girl come on here a couple weeks ago. I forgot. I'm sorry. Alyssa, I believe. Yeah. We had a girl come over here a few weeks back, and she stated that she got her man because she been riding with him from the very beginning. They were friends at first because he wasn't ready for a relationship. Right? Long story short, 3 years passed. They've been together ever since. They actually have investments together now. Men do not trust, and I'm not going to say all. A lot of men, when we're talking about gender now in this ride or die, gender siding, a lot of men marry their ride or dies because men do not just trust, especially 2022. Men don't just trust a woman with everything that he has. Granted, he has something to give or offer or lose, realistically. Now, when it comes down to it, Bonnie and Clyde, because this is where everything stemmed from with ride or die. Correct, Aaron?
That's where the whole like
Ideology came from.
You get me in
no,
trouble.
that's the word. The
romanticism
That's where the whole
of ride or
romanticism
die.
of that all
Okay,
came
cool.
from.
So the Bonnie and Clyde history, right, was this one-sided?
I don't like how they got shot up at the end, and I think that's a great
can we
example
hear
of what
the
I'm trying to
story?
say. Young
Well,
and in love,
So
trauma
right
bonding.
here, I have their first meeting. I mean, it's a very in-depth story,
Yeah.
so it's not going to be like, we're probably going to have to
Let's
break it
get
down
the
to pieces.
gist.
A little
Well,
story.
They was robbing banks together.
To
girl.
begin with, right, they met, one of them was injured, and they met, they were 19-year-olds and 19-year-old, well, the male was 20, and the woman was 19. Right?
Also give the year.
19 January 5th, 1930 is the year that they met, their first meeting. Now, by 1932, so it jumps straight to 2 years. So 2 years being together, it says early robberies. This is based on Wikipedia, by the way. That's my citation in the words of Aaron. 1932, they had some early robberies and murders. Earl was released from prison, so it looks like he was arrested, but the dude came out of prison in February 1932.
They were young, they were teens, and they were young as hell, haven't even experienced life. They're just puppy love, basically.
Frontal lobe
This is
ain't
the way
developed.
Exactly. These are young kids, and this is not even in a century. So that is another issue. But these are two young people that are just madly in love, that are doing dumb shit together. That's like saying, Alan's teenage son, we're gonna follow his whatever he does and make a term out of it, and then now it's just
A thing.
set in stone.
They were together for about 5 years.
They got shot up together.
What I'm
period.
saying, yeah, which is
Who
dope.
wants to die young? Like, who wants to get shot up with the person that they love? Like, shouldn't we be pushing towards having an end goal in a relationship, not riding it out and be like loyal? Like, extreme loyalty is a problem in our culture.
I can
it's
see
a
it.
problem because that's what happens in gangs. You're sitting here being loyal to people who are what? Jumping
loyal
each
to
other,
you.
not loyal to you. So much confusion, jumping each other in, so much
Doing
chaos
time
going
'cause
in
you
and
won't
going
snitch.
doing time. People getting shot up. up, people parents' houses getting shot up. You being fucking loyal to people that are your friends and your bros, and you're having this people that are not even your real blood family. You're having bonds with them that are just going absolutely nowhere. You're ending up in jails together. This is just an example. I'm not talking about relationship wise, but I'm just saying in general, that's being a ride or die to your homeboy, and there's no benefit to that.
There is benefit. Like, we gotta stop.
To have a good friendship, and then die at 23. So what's the point of having a great I'm saying something real quick. So you're having a friendship with your homeboy. You're making dumbass decisions. You guys are just living life and just having loyalty to each other. I'll fight for you. I'll ride for you. Let's get money together. Let's make sure we trust each other. And then you guys what really are you working towards? Like, work on, like, obviously you can't marry your homeboy, but in a relationship, work on, have a
that's what they
that.
want.
But in a relationship, there needs to be a goal. Like, why am I riding so hard for you? Like, why are we giving so much of ourselves to other people? When I die, I'm going to die alone. I'm going to be buried alone. So I'm not giving anybody way more loyalty than I give to myself. That is the point. I need to have loyalty to myself at an extreme height before I can give it to anybody else.
Well, fuck
a ride or die.
Well,
I'm not dying for nobody. I ain't dying for no motherfucker.
You don't have to, but what you do have to do is honor your word once you commit to something. So now, once you want to say that, hey, look, you want to jump in the gang. If you decide to jump in the gang and the code is to ride or die, that is the code. That is something that you must obey by. If you decide to jump into a fraternity, right? Your fraternities are ride or dies. There's millions of different organizations that are just not a gang culture.
Sororities and fraternities. No,
but it does not. No.
Right.
What you're doing is
college.
No,
we're going from gang to college.
Because what you're doing is you're trying to put ride or die is only on the people who are willing to be detrimental.
When you ride with your frat brother.
I'm trying to talk. I didn't talk while you were talking.
Wait, can I correct one thing that y'all are both?
I wasn't talking while you were talking.
No, both of y'all are saying one wrong thing. Sororities and fraternities are not ride or die organizations.
Factory.
What I'm trying to say is ride or die organizations does not have to be a staple. We're talking about what's the culture. Now, guess what? If you want to say what's ride or die, now a lot of people that sign up to certain things, when you join certain organizations, you have the expectancy to ride for that person with extreme loyalty. Now, all of these places and all these organizations and all of these parties do not always have to result to a dying outcome, because what they're doing doesn't go down that route. So now what my problem that I'm hearing is that we always take the ride or die and only think about the death part. Right? We don't ever want to think about the ride part. Like nine times out of 10, most people that are doing the ride or die are not dying. How about that? Most times the people that are doing the ride or die are actually typically riding with the person
that gets uncomfortable. I give you that. All right.
Riding with the person that is going to benefit them. Most people are riding with people that are going to benefit them, especially nowadays more than ever, because now everybody has an awareness of what 1 + 1 = 2, of what this step is going to equate to, plus their moves is going to equate to this outcome. So now when you have all these people like, yo, you know how many people be like, I don't even want to join a gang now. There's less gang members than there is now joining new actively than there was before, even though it's a pop culture thing. You know why? Because they're seeing the outcome. It's being demonstrated of what's going to happen. You know how many people, when 6ix9ine got out of jail, said, I'm glad he snitched. I would snitch too. Millions. And those people could be deemed as not ride or dies. But this is something that is awareness. But those people will do a ride or die for something else.
Well, who's wrong in that situation?
Well, not that situation.
I'm just curious to know your perspective. Do you think 6ix9ine should have snitched or not?
No. He should have never. I mean, it's a very complex situation, and I don't want to dive into that man's business. But at the end of the day, once you sign up for something, it's
snitching.
Especially when like I said,
I'm snitching.
I'm 20-some years.
I'm definitely snitching. Don't ever think I'm not.
Relocate me.
Don't do no dirt with me.
The crazy thing is, and
I get it, but
and nowadays too, here's the worst part, and this is something for people to understand. Nowadays, in 2022, a lot of times, snitches still do jail time. They just do less of it.
They just do less.
So now, yourself. But you didn't save yourself. You put yourself in more harm's way.
No, I'm moving to Mexico.
You can't
do it.
Jada, he's the last grade.
Right, at this point.
Everybody's narrative and definition of the extreme outcome does not come to play.
So can I just say, in my mind, I'm feeling like, just one more thing. In my mind, I'm feeling as though I understand where you're coming from, and I feel like most people don't think husband and wife when they think ride or die. That's where my mind is different. And I feel as though in a ride or die situation, there's always one person that's like probably more of the insecure of the two. One person is taking advantage, and I think that's where there's an issue because there's someone in the situation that is going to lose more, and that's why it just.
Sometimes
I don't think of it as husband and wife. When I think of ride or die, I just feel as though there's someone who's being taken advantage of, and I just don't.
So let me ask you this question, right? When Bonnie and Clyde were robbing banks for 4 to 5 years, right? You think that Bonnie was the only one enjoying the luxuries of all of their robberies?
No, again, I think those were two young people that were making dumbass decisions.
I get that. I get what you think about that. But my question is this: was only one person benefiting from their risk?
No.
So now what ends up happening is you have two people benefiting from certain risk when you're doing the ride or die. The ride or die always comes with benefits. Let's not get that confused.
Trauma bonding is a psychological response to abuse. It occurs when the abused person forms an unhealthy bond with the person who abuses them. The person experiencing abuse may develop sympathy for the abusive person, ironically, which becomes reinforced by cycles of abuse and also followed by remorse. All right. So we just want to make sure that we identify how trauma bonding plays into being a ride or die person. I want to make some like distinctions. And you guys did that in talking about like marriage and, like family relationships, X, Y, and Z. I just want to point out one thing, and we agreed on this definition. The definition says...
No, we did not.
We didn't? I know y'all saw us agree on this definition.
Urban Dictionary.
About ride or die.
Right.
The important thing is that loyalty and loyalty to your detriment are just two totally different things. You can be committed to a person, you can be committed to a cause, but when it gets to a point to where it puts you in danger, it puts your livelihood in jeopardy. It takes food out of your mouth. It could potentially put you in jail. It could hurt your mama, your daddy, X, Y, and Z. Like, that's to your detriment. And I don't understand why we would ever want to glorify that. Like, why we want to glorify that? Why do we want to romanticize it? Because at the end of the day, it's not benefiting anybody. And let's be real, this shit is romanticized in our culture. And it's not cute. Like Rico was talking about the girl who said whose guy picked her because she was around forever.
Nobody wants to be her.
Like, thank you. I'm sorry.
Nobody wants to be that.
Being there through it all is not.
A lot of women are single.
They're not.
No, that's okay because
I don't know what woman you're talking about.
Guys, being there through it all is not the same as being a ride or die. Because I could have been with my college boyfriend. Yeah, we could have been eating ramen noodles. And we could have, lived in a 1,200 square foot ranch style house for our first house. We could have, struggled for one of us to go to grad school, and then we eventually made something of ourselves. That is what being there from the jump is. That is riding it out with somebody. Ride or die is when you're doing some bullshit to your detriment.
Thank you.
Like they're not the same.
Not. No, the hell it's not. Yeah. Yo, let me explain something to you.
I just want to finish.
No.
I just want to finish.
All right.
I just want to finish.
I thought you were done.
But I'm just using Rico's words.
Drink, please?
Rico said that being there through it all is a ride or die. That's not the same.
And I also said that all is different from person to person. For example, your struggle could be you had to eat ramen noodles in college. My struggle could be I had nobody and nowhere to live for 10 years of my life.
That's not what I'm
saying.
That's
Not
what I'm saying.
What I'm saying is riding it out is a variable that is going to be displayed differently in each person's relationship.
You forgot the dying part.
Let's keep it a bug.
Because some of them don't actually have to go that far. So I could be like, I'm a ride or die for Alan, but Alan would never put me in a position to die. But that does not mean that I'm not a ride or die.
You're trying to merge two things.
No, it's the same.
Let's keep it a buck. Ride or die it's a ghetto ass motherfucking term.
Thank you.
At the end of the day, it's some ghetto hood shit.
Thank you.
This bitch is sticking by me with her dumb ass through everything.
RT a dumbass.
I'm cheating on her. I'm selling drugs. She holding my shit. She taking the fucking L.
Doing you bad.
Doing the bid. That's the fucking what a ride or die is.
That's
Let's
one of
keep it a
them.
buck.
That's
We're
one
not
of-
talking about real relationships. We're not talking about healthy relationships.
Thank you.
We're not talking about people that grew up in great homes and fucking went to college and now they're in fraternities. And we're not talking about that. Let's keep it a buck. Let's talk some real shit right now.
Ride or
Some
die
hood shit
came
right
from
now.
Bonnie
Ride
and
or die is
Clyde.
some hood shit.
Ronnie,
Fuck Bonnie,
no,
fuck
no,
Clyde.
it doesn't. No, Ride or die came from Bonnie and
is-
Clyde.
Fuck them.
Okay,
That's not-
well-
in the hood, ride or die is some shit where we talking about hood shit and females that are sticking
They
it
were
out.
doing hood
Jada,
shit.
Motherfuckers.
Jada, let me ask you a
Robin
question.
Banks.
No,
We talking
Jada,
about the
Jada.
1920s.
Where did the terminology ride or die come?
Maybe it came from them, but think
Okay,
about
so-
it. They
so no,
died
no.
together
I think
and
it was
shit.
the
That's what
locks.
What I want you to do is
Didn't the locks make that up?
no, they
thought it
didn't
was,
make that up.
They made it popular.
No, they didn't.
This is some hood
No, they
shit. It's some hood shit. Let's stop trying
What
to
happened-
sound
We
like
all
it's cute.
agreed.
You're
Hold
not
on.
even. No. Let's get the
I'm
facts
not
clear
gonna be a
before.
writer to my husband. That's
Okay,
my
then don't be a
husband.
writer.
My husband is my husband. We have a partnership and I'm going to be there for him like he's going to be there for me. I'm not sitting here holding no dude's weight, taking it from state to state, doing a bit. That's the ghetto shit that it is. Period. That is what a ride. I want a ride or die chick. That's what the fuck it is. There's nothing else other than that. You can't make it classier. You can't talk about these people. We take shit and we turn it into hood shit. That's what happened. We took Bonnie and Clyde and we brought it to this century and we made it into something totally different. That's it. There's no if, and, or but about it.
What we're not going to do. No,
I did it.
You're saying that like we turned it into something different, and we really didn't. Like it's the same shit. Like they were,
I just said
they
that.
were robbing
They were doing
gangs
ghetto ass
together.
shit.
They were they murdering people? I don't know. We never
Yes.
even.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
they were murdering.
Well, one of
they
them
were
was one, yeah.
robberies.
Robbing.
Y'all got me all fucking tongue
Robbing.
twisted and shit. It's still some ghetto ass shit. We just brought it to this, century, and this is what we use to describe our relationships when we want loyalty from our partner. So it's literally the same thing, and that's why I personally said that it comes with a negative connotation, and it really
Because it's ghetto.
and it really proves my point, being that Bonnie and Clyde is where this term derived from. So it's like I feel like my point is made, our point is made.
The term ride or die has to deal with nothing but the principle.
Of what?
Of loyalty, of honor.
Thank you.
No, that's what I meant.
No, I mean, yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
I
Getaway.
I said it already. No. The getaway is taken from people who see it as a getaway, right? The getaway is not taken from. I'm pretty sure there are people of all ethnic backgrounds that are not in ghetto relationships that consider ride or dies in a non-ghetto way, quote unquote ghetto. Right? So what I'm trying to say is the principle of the ride or die is just the immense loyalty part. Is it true, right, that some people do use it in the way that Jada is saying it? Yes, 100%. But is it true that that same exact phrase can be and is used in abundance of other different ways? The answer is yes. There's people who are using that. I gotta ride or die, even though she never had to go through a point where she had to die. I know that she's a rider.
But how do you
Not
know if you
die,
never
but-
get to the die part? Like, how do you know?
I'm
if-
just-
Not die, but
Because
be down.
like I
down
said,
and out.
I've already spoken about this before, but you were taking your notes, right? I've spoken about this before.
I hate it here.
Don't do that.
I hate it here.
Yo, y'all never let me finish. I had to sit here and be quiet for Jada to go on a whole,
no,
a whole
I'm asking
rant.
for clarification.
Okay, so my bad. Most times, people in a relationship, whether it be a man and a woman, whatever the case may be, right? They demonstrate certain loyalties because every relationship has some type of obstacles, whether it be early on, whether it be long term, whatever the case may be. But the comfort that you start to get with the person, and what typically brings people together the closest, is when they can overcome the obstacles. And now, depending on your obstacles and depending on your life and depending on what you are doing in your life, right, will dictate the type of severity of the obstacles that you're having. So if Joe is just having investment issues where he's investing everybody's money and losing it and maybe making it, then and his wife and or girlfriend, whomever that may be, is contributing to that vision, she's a ride or die. Because their death may not be an actual physical death. It may be a death of their financial status. It may be death of their financial comfort. It may be a death of their happiness or their lifestyle. But things will die because of the risk. Potentially, it's a potential factor.
So it's safe to say that marriage is the classy, safe way of being a ride or die. And anything outside of marriage is ghetto. Because in marriage, it is till death do us part.
Not for everybody.
In marriage, whatever. But you take
brought
your
that up.
vows.
Yeah, I'm saying.
You take your vows and you say till death do us part. And that's when I understand the ride or die shit. Okay? Because now, all right, we have a bond with each other. We really have a loyalty that's written down. Contracts. Everything is contracts in this world. Everything is contracts, right? But when you not married and you just being somebody's ride or die for no reason and what we gonna figure out what's happening later. That's when I think it's really ghetto. It's pointless.
Not too long ago, we had a woman saying now, she bigs up the terminology, the slut, the whore. She bigs those up. Well, we can big those up, but we can't big ride or die is what I'm gathering that he said. And if that is the case, I agree.
That's too different. Well, sure, you can big it up, but I mean, why would a woman want to big it up?
No, but that's the same thing as we can also ask, why would a woman want to, I don't want to go off on a tangent, but why would a woman want to big up the slut shaming?
Because they're trying to change the narrative of what they are being called.
So why don't you try to change the narrative of riding and die?
No, how about women just don't fuck around with the ride or die bullshit? But the thing is that we've already discussed it. I said it's to any loyalty to your detriment. Your detriment, and I said this, taking money out of your pockets, putting your mama in trouble, potentially going to jail, X, Y, and Z. All of these things are to your detriment. Like, I don't understand what we're debating.
So I guess he's saying because he said, death to your finances, death to your really what?
Yeah, but that's
I don't get it.
It's all to you.
We get it. You just said it. He just wants us to reiterate it.
It's all detrimental. Like I don't. You're being loyal to a point to where it is detrimental to you. It's detrimental to your taking food out of your mouth. Yeah. It's detrimental to your mental health. It's detrimental to your mama and them. What?
No, something.
That's what I've said this 75 times.
But we understand that. But what we're trying to say is, why is being a rider to some type of detriment a bad thing? For example,
you just said that.
It's kind of like the difference between being a hoe.
I didn't say it was a bad thing. I'm not saying it's a bad thing.
No.
It's like it is what it is in a way. It's like
I'm literally
to me, I just
that
think
y'all said something that I've said 75 times already.
No, we get it. You said it. Rico just said it. You guys are on the same page. Agree?
I'm so confused. But anyway,
what we're trying to talk about is why is it looked down upon?
Okay, well, what?
The same way male hoes is not looked down upon and female hoes is looked down upon. It's the same shit.
It's really because to be a ride or die chick, you're putting
it's a classy way in a ghetto.
You're putting your trust in someone, right? You're putting your trust in someone, not even knowing where it's gonna take you, right? And it's like you could get to the die part and. Like Jada said, I feel like this is where she's touched on the whole marriage thing. Like, if this is not someone you're bond to, this is someone you don't have contracts with, or you guys are in it together forever, for real type shit. What's the point of all this?
You got to be my husband. There has to be some type of, like I always say, that's insurance. Because what other reason am I being here riding for you? Because like we know, a man might decide, all right, everybody doesn't end in the situation as that other girl where he decided to choose her and to marry her and to be with her. Sometimes you ride for somebody, you end up getting the short end of the stick, and then what? They move on and they try to find them another rider that's going to ride harder. So what did you do all that riding and sacrificing for? There's no marriage there. There's no marriage at the end of it. So what did you do it for? To see if he's going to pick me? It's not worth it.
But at the same time, why am I going to sign a paper that you're talking about, and I don't even know if you're willing to ride for me?
There's no other way to test someone's loyalty.
No.
There's no other way to test someone's loyalty, but then for it to be like what? Because money and monetary things, okay, that's fine. But I don't think that's I don't think that's the point. I don't think that's what we mean. Well, I mean when I say ride or die. I'm talking about putting me in negative situations, shootouts and shit. And that's why I say it's ghetto.
Well, I mean, that's
why I say it's ghetto.
Okay, so from a Jada standpoint, that might be the case.
It's ladies that will hold a dude's gun, go to the
I
club,
get that. Well, we're not going off on a tangent.
That's not a tangent. That's on topic.
What I'm saying is we're talking about riding to detriment, right? That's what we're talking about. Correct? riding.
That's what she's saying.
That's exactly what I said. Why
Can
is
we
that a
listen?
tangent?
I just want to make sure that
You just
everyone-
asked me.
tangent.
Okay, I didn't ask if that was she was saying. I just said right or wrong, right? So now when we're talking about
You ain't gotta agree
when we're
with you.
talking about riding to some detriment, right? This is what ends up happening. Everybody has a different threshold on what detriment they're willing to sign up for. Okay?
And that's fine.
I'm not saying that it's wrong. But now what I'm saying is, how does a man know your threshold for a specific detriment, and to the point where he's like, all right, cool, you're saying that you're not going to be a ride or die unless you willing to put a ring and put it on paper, and he's saying, well, how do I know how much you're willing to ride for?
Okay, so fuck that man, because at the end of the day, fuck that man, because you're not gonna put me through a course of, you're not gonna put me through all of these tests and put me through all of this shit just to see how either you're gonna break me or you're gonna decide you want to make me a wife. And a lot of times, nothing is for sure at the end of the day. So if that is what you want to put me through in order to see if I'm worth you being with, then count me the fuck out. And I hope most women feel the same way that I do.
Oh, definitely count me out.
Yeah, count me out. You don't get it? What's going on
That's
today?
not even being what we're talking about.
That is what we're talking
No, we're
about.
not.
Count me out. 'cause
Nobody's
I'm not
putting
going
you
through
through.
the test.
No. Here's the thing. Think about it like this, right?
If you're not sure about
No.
me, because I'm not doing the most.
Jada, what I'm gonna do is
Count me
this.
out.
We're gonna make this very clear. So most men, for example, right, and this is real life now, that are in a professional sport in America, right? They say about 80% go bankrupt. I don't know how many of that actual percentage of bankruptcy means realistically no money, but I do know 70% of the people that go bankrupt lose their wives. So now what I'm saying is, how do I know you're going to truly ride with me when things are truly tough?
that
If you
example.
come in when everything is already done, you come in and there's a nice house. You come in and the grass is already, you know what I'm saying, cut, and the architect of the whole thing shebang is there. The car that you want, I'm the guy that you want. I look the way that you want, but we have not.
And these are married men.
Yes, most of them get divorced.
70%.
Of the ones that file for bankruptcy.
What? Wait, what's the stat again? Tell me again.
80% of professional athletes, specifically in football and basketball,
Go bankrupt.
I don't know the percentage of that bankruptcy, because we have a lawyer here, that actually means that they run out of money, right? But nearly 2/3, right? Nearly 2/3 go through a divorce.
Now, can I bring up another subject? Does it have to be monetary?
But this is what I'm asking you is this, right? I'm not asking monetary. I'm asking principles. How am I supposed to know you're really riding with me until we get to a point that you truly can't handle?
I'm gonna be honest. Like, I'm so over this.
It's like I'm putting you through a ride or die situation to see if you pass
Not
the
on
test.
purpose. Yeah, I'm gonna say it, not on purpose. If you're doing it on purpose, I don't agree. But when life comes, listen, Alan told me this 5 years ago, 4.5 years ago. He said, any relationship that you get into, make it perfect, because life is going to mess it up anyways. So there's nothing you could do to avoid that. So when life comes into your relationship, and billionaires go broke. So if you're with the guy for monetary, billionaires go broke. Yes, they do.
Maybe
Wait,
millionaires.
millionaires?
Billionaires. Google it.
No.
Bill.
Are you saying billionaires?
Yes.
It's only 1%. Like, okay. So who? Because we should know their name.
No.
If Aaron says no, then it's no.
No. Google is your best. Google is your friend. Just type it, and it's gonna drop a whole list for you.
You know Aaron don't play. She already on it.
It's all right. I already did it. It's cool. So what we're trying to say is, there it goes. When billionaires can go broke, right?
Actually,
10.
this stat is not. This is not a true stat.
Stop capping, y'all.
It says they have declared bankruptcy. When you are bankrupt, you are not broke.
I'm talking about broke with no money.
Okay, Aaron,
Yeah.
you're not gonna find the answers in 6 seconds.
Yeah. Okay. But anyway, no, I'm gonna find it. But let me, y'all. Y'all been doing a lot of back and forth. All right.
Oh, okay.
And so,
Let's talk about trauma bonding.
no, but let me get a word in edgewise. Okay, so somebody brought up a good point about being loyal to your detriment. And I thought this was a really good point because they were like, what about Malcolm X and Betty Shabazz? His work for the people was a detriment to her safety. It was a detriment to the financial security and safety of her children. It was a detriment also to the people who are around him, his friends and stuff. So like, I think because clearly y'all aren't getting to the same understanding because y'all are talking about something different. So what if we just think about something that has nothing to do with money? It's literally your safety. Safety. Can you feed your children? Do they have a safe place to lay their heads?
That's money.
Are they worth what?
That's money.
No, it's not. It's about somebody shooting up your house. So what I'm saying is that I think that will give us another layer of how to consider this, because we're talking about a lot of ghetto shit. Let's be real about holding guns and doing bids.
Me.
Whatever. We're talking about a lot of lying under oath, X, Y, and Z, like all of that. Like, but when we look at someone again, like a Coretta Scott King, you know, she had the same mentality. But I also believe that she wasn't necessarily riding or die for that man. She was also riding or dying
For the cause.
For a cause. Okay. And so the thing is that when you're riding or dying for a cause, you're committed to something bigger. That's why I think it's a little different. It's not just you. It's not just how you eating. It's not just how much money you got. It's not the nice curated home for you. They doing it for everybody. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, it's gonna benefit them, but they are not the mass beneficiaries of what was going on back then. So I think we just, in order to really like make whatever arguments that are being applied here, let's try to apply that exact same argument to totally different scenarios.
That wasn't
because
ghetto.
that means it's gonna be the same all across the board.
Which is what I was trying to say from the very beginning.
I understand her perspective.
Yeah, because you gotta think about it. People like Malcolm X and you know all these other people, they are already living for a bigger purpose or a bigger picture outside of themselves. So when any woman that came into their lives already knew what they were signing up for, because that person was going against a social norm within a certain nation, and they were actually doing something that could potentially hurt themselves and put themselves at risk. So if you decide to sign up for that.
They was married too though.
So we're gonna break.
They was married.
Wow.
For the record.
The rest of this episode on Patreon.
Oh, okay, all right, yeah.
So YouTube, you guys sign up for Patreon to watch the rest of this.
Because it's about to keep going.
Yeah, we're
YouTube?
But you guys gotta go on Patreon. Y'all bugging. I mean, y'all.
yeah, I definitely got it.
Y'all bugging.
You just call
Y'all, shout out to all the people in the comments. The comments are like going crazy today. So we really love the engagement. We love like everybody's perspectives, but like y'all are going ham and cheese in the comments. So thank y'all.
Ham and
They
cheese.
going ham and cheese.
Patreon for the rest of this.
Bye.